When Living Liquid dies here, your hand will disappear. As soon as the death happens and you see this Cruise Chaser dialogue, it's time to prepare for Limit Cut. What generally happens, the easiest strat that's recommended is to have 1, 2, 5, 6 go north and 3, 4, 7, 8 go south. Now it's not perfectly like that. So if I can show you, this is a GIF of Limit Cut. What you're going to see is it starts by an explosion happening on two of these lines, and they'll each be 4 lines away from each other. So you see it started east-west and then proceeded to explode on the next line over clockwise over and over again, occasionally doing an explosion in the middle. So you don't really need to memorize this explosion pattern. This is going to be one of the most difficult mechanics in the fight, by the way, so it's important that you, if anything, like, look at this diagram over and over again, look at the movements. They're very precise. One person messing up typically means the whole raid wipes. So if there's one mechanic to study early on in T, and that's going to be a wall for your team, it's Limit Cut. This one right here, and may cause you guys to just quit the fight altogether if you get frustrated and some player can't figure it out. So if you're having trouble figuring out this mechanic, don't beat yourself up. It's pretty tough to get just right. A lot of the movements are pretty precise. But really looking at this GIF here is going to really help you understand everything that's going on. The more you understand about this mechanic, the more consistent you're going to be. And this one's all about consistency. So you'll notice the explosions are always happening on the opposite sides of each other, unless the explosion happens in the middle. Every time an explosion happens, all players move up 1 pizza slice here. 1, 2, 5, 6 typically go towards the north, and 3, 4, 7, 8 go towards the south. You'll notice in this GIF, 1 explosion can happen in the west, 1 explosion can happen in the east, and that means neither is north or south of each other. So you'll have to work that out with your team. What we did is northwest, north, northeast, and east are the explosion locations for 1, 2, 5, 6. So when an explosion occurs on one of those lines, those numbered players go to that marker or follow that explosion, because the whole point of the group of 4 is to follow the explosions one by one and stay the even number behind the odd number, because what happens in this mechanic is Cruise Chaser spawns behind the odd number and dashes at the even number. So the first thing that's going to happen, Cruise Chaser Conal cleaves 1, dashes at 2. What Cruise Chaser does is a Conal cleave on the odd numbered player and a line dash at the even numbered player, both causing knockbacks. The Conal AoE on the odd numbered player is a very small knockback that is unavoidable. You can use knockback immunity for either of the knockbacks. You can use it, and you should feel free to use it because you won't need it later. But the knockback should never kill you if you know what you're doing. So as I said, the knockback on the odd numbered player that does the Conal AoE is unavoidable, but it is very short distance, and usually you don't care about getting knocked that short distance because it knocks you forward a little bit and you're running in that direction anyways. The knockback from the line AoE on the even numbered player is only going to knock you back if you are not facing Cruise Chaser when he dashes at you. If you do get hit by the line AoE and you weren't facing Cruise Chaser, you will get knocked off the arena and die. And Limit Break 3 can't even heal you at that point. Can't even raise you because you're outside the arena. So it's important if you're the even numbered player, more so I would say, to pop knockback immunity. If you're an odd numbered one, it's not that important. But either way, before Cruise Chaser jumps on you one way or another, Conal AoE or line AoE, when it's your time to go, you can pop knockback immunity. 1, 2, 5, 6 go east, northeast, north, or northwest. 3, 4, 7, 8 go southeast, south, southwest, or west towards the explosion that happened on that line. 1, 2 are going to be the first. They're going to be on the inside lane. 3, 4 are going to be in the inside lane. And then once they bait the cone and the line AoE, they switch with the other group. And 1 and 2 run on the outside where 5 and 6 were, and 5 and 6 come on the inside to bait the cone and the line AoE. And 3 and 4 are doing the same thing, just on the opposite side. And you're just following this explosion. The only caveat here is sometimes the explosion happens in the middle, as you saw there. If the explosion happens in the middle, chill out and wait. You don't want to pass into the next pizza slice until the next explosion goes off in front of you. You basically never move into a new pizza slice until an explosion occurs in it. And we'll go over that here. Once the second explosion happens in the middle, the odd numbered team is free to move into the center. They need to start providing AoE heals and get ready for BJCC. But let's go over all of that in game now. If I can take you in game, and I'm going to break down exactly what you want to be doing here, step by step. The first thing you want to do is look at northwest, north, northeast, and east. Once you get this, quote, limit cut's coming. So you're going to be looking for an explosion to happen on one of these lines. But the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to be, once you orient yourself like this, you're going to be given a number. So you want to be spread out from your team a little bit here. I see I got 7. It's a little overlap for my teammates. If you have trouble seeing that, you can just spread out a little bit more. But once you get your number, everyone needs to converge middle because the explosion's about to come. I noticed I got 7, so I am not going to be 1, 2, 5, 6, which means I'm not looking to go to the explosion on one of these 4 lines that I'm looking at. So that means I need to do a quick 180, and now I'm looking at west, southwest, south, and southeast. And I'm looking for the explosion that's going to happen on one of these lines. Boom, there's the explosion. That means, remember, they're going clockwise, so the next explosion is going to happen on west. So it starts on southwest and northeast down here. 1, 2, 5, 6 are going to go in this direction. 3, 4, 7, 8 going in this direction. Since I'm 3, 4, 7, 8, I know the next explosion is going to be west. I'm going to run along the left side of this pizza slice line to stay out of the explosion. Because it's going to center here and not past that line there. So you'll see it right here. There's the explosion. I'm on the safe side of the line. I'm making my way to the outside of the arena because I'm not baiting first. 3 and 4 are baiting first. Now, it's very important to pay attention to our movement. Our movement's very particular. The way to understand this is don't move into the next pizza slice until you see an explosion occur. So we see this AoE explosion occur. Now Bailey and Din are free to move into this next pizza slice. So the odd numbered player is leading again. The even numbered player kind of has it easy. They just follow closely enough behind. If they fall too far behind, they'll die to the conal AoE of the odd numbered player on the other side, or the explosion on the other side. So it's really kind of precise where you need to be moving. You'll notice Din's falling pretty closely. Also very important, the odd numbered player is always facing forward. Cruise Chaser does the conal AoE behind from where the player is facing. So if Bailey ever turned around, let's say you're using legacy movement and you press down to move backwards to move back behind the line, Cruise Chaser might be facing the wrong way and conal AoE the whole team. So Bailey's moving one pizza slice at a time. He's kind of leading the whole crew here. An explosion happened middle, which means you don't move forward on every explosion. You only move forward if an explosion happened in that section. So he's staying behind this line until he actually sees an explosion happen in the section in front of him. So moving one slice at a time, waiting for the explosion to happen ahead of him. There's the explosion, which means he's clear to move. But Cruise Chaser is here to do the conal AoE, and notice he's facing forward, and he's going to get knocked into the next section anyways. See, it's very short knockback, so he can survive it without using knockback immunity. Then Cruise Chaser dashed on the player behind him. And the player behind him typically sprints to catch up. He has to catch up all the way to Bailey here. So if you're that player in the back, you want to sprint because you know, these explosions are still rotating around. As a black mage, I typically just ethereal manipulation. So here I am following the explosions. I'm only moving into the next area once the explosion occurs. I'm the last one to bait the Kono AoE. Here the line AoE comes out, and then everyone needs to get middle. Healers pop the bubble mitigations and heal everyone up to max because there's a big J kick coming from BJCC. All right, and this is phase 2.